Can you hear me, Joe? Can you see me?
I can hear you and I can see you. Yes.
We're already live.
Well, live? Don't do that to me.
I did it intentionally. I'm like, I bet he's not watching.
Maybe I'm. You were hoping to catch me in some.
Ah!
That's what it was. So,
Hello, sir.
hey, Rick. Now is it? Have I been pronouncing it wrong? Is it Eureka or Eurek or?
It's Carrie.
Anyways, good morning.
Her name is Carrie backwards. It's Urek. I don't know.
Eurek.
I just call her Carrie.
Carrie. Okay.
Yeah. Hi, Carrie and Lucas. Anybody else who's coming in?
Is it Jumper Carrie?
Okay. Carrie Jumper.
Carrie Jumper.
I don't know. Carrie, is that your last name, Jumper? She's gonna answer.
Let's see.
Yeah, double take today. I forgot to mention in Bible Every Morning that it was Wednesday and that I'd be over here. So hi, Jacqueline, Mitch, everybody's piling in. All right. I gotta show you something. Let me show you something.
All right. I'm ready.
Hold on a second. I gotta bring it up. Technology. Where is it? Is that it? No.
This is riveting podcasting right here, folks.
This is the tune-out factor. tuning out as we go.
Discuss everyone now. This would be a good time for everyone to discuss their hairstyles, like last time.
Oh, right.
And I know you're in your ponytail again. Okay, nothing I can do.
Yeah,
I tried.
Well, if you didn't know me already and know that I had a ponytail, when you saw me like this, you wouldn't know, right?
No,
you would
be like when I first met you when you were a decent-looking human being. Yes.
Oh, just a guy with short hair. Yeah, and then I turned like, wait, what's that back there?
It's a hippie.
Have you seen that? There's hats that have ponytails attached to them. Like if you can. I've seen those hats. It's like fool people that you have long hair. Anyway,
need a gray one for me, but
right, yeah, the color match
goes with this. Yeah,
color matching is a problem. I just accidentally. Hold on. There we go. I clicked the wrong button. All right. So I am going to add this to the stage. There we go. So this is assassinsaint.com. Is the full website's not quite ready yet, but this is what we have here. And he took the flyer down. Wait, what's going on? I gotta refresh it. Again, riveting stuff. He did. Last night there was a flyer here that I was going to show you.
Oh.
So I'm speaking in Idaho on Saturday.
You got the speaking gig. Okay, cool.
Yeah, the books. Oh, here's the flyer. It's over here.
Ah.
All right, there it is. So here it is. It's official. This is the first book signing. The question is, the books are being printed as we speak and being sent to the binder as we speak, and I leave tomorrow at 3.
Oh,
so it's like, what's a book signing without books to sign? So it's one of those nail biters. We got the thing all set up, and the guy, my printer who's printing them, good guy, but he's doing all this at cost, so it's not like he's even making money on me right now, and so I'm not his top priority. But he's been saying we're going to get these books for a while, and there's people that already paid for some, etc. Anyway, don't want to besmirch him. He's doing amazing. He's doing God's work. But got the book signing, and he's the one who also created this flyer, and he like legit. He's got the bookstore's logo down there and the QR code that takes you straight to assassinsaint.com. Also, I wanted to point out to you, so if you go to Assassinsaint, this video, you're probably not going to be able to hear it, but I'm just going to play it so you can see it. I don't know if you've seen this video. You should go to assassinsaint.com and watch this video, because this is, let's see.
I'm Michael Gavlak.
Can you hear that?
What you're about to see is a glimpse into my discovery.
Could you hear that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm hearing it.
Oh. I don't know. Do you want to watch it? It's 5 minutes long.
Of the most important story ever forgotten.
if the world had first known Mehmet Talat Pasha.
You know what? I'm going to stop it there. Because I just remembered we're on YouTube. It just showed some graphic imagery. I don't want this video to get flagged. So let me tell you the story. For you to watch it, and anybody else watching this who hasn't watched it, go to assassinsaint.com and watch the whole thing. It's a 5-minute video that goes into detail. Where did Joel go? Joel disappeared. All right. I'll explain. Where did he go? Did he just... He literally just disappeared. Did he get booted? All right. Well, for you guys in here, oh yeah, I'll talk to you guys. Yeah, that is the goal, to get this on the screen. And I had a meeting last night. What the heck? I did not boot him. He'll pop in and I'll bring him back up when he comes back. See if he's texting me. Sorry, guys. I'm going to text him real quick. All right, yeah, it's good that I turned that video off, because it was the big Sieg Heil, and you were about to see the World War II guy with the mustache and stuff. So this video, it's been age restricted, as I mentioned in Bible every morning. It's been age restricted on YouTube, but so I didn't want that to happen to this video. Still haven't heard from Joel. It's just weird that he just disappeared. Okay, so I'm kind of concerned now. So rather than being concerned, let me just continue talking. So last night I had a meeting with producer Gina and Steven, the guy who's building the website, printing the books, preparing the media tour content, created the flyer, and we had a meeting. And so I've been working on this project for 7 years. Oh yeah, he lost internet, so it wasn't me. Well, I've been working on this for 7 years, and being this deeply immersed into it, and you guys are already, after a couple of years of knowing me, are this way as well. You hear a bunch of the details, and you know how interesting and compelling and fascinating the story is. And it's like, how do you pitch that, right? There's so many compelling elements to the story, so many ways to pitch it, and so many different people to pitch to, right? When I say pitch, like, I pitch it to an audience, like, you're going to want to see this, right? You should be interested in this. You should go to assassinsaint.com and watch this video, right? That's what I mean by pitching. But then another pitch is to money, right? So last night, it's really... When Joel gets back in, we'll get to the subject, optimism versus pessimism, for whatever time is left in this video, in this session. But pitching to money is very specific, and what kind of money, like who, what, is it a Christian organization, or is it an individual Armenian, or is it Hollywood production financing or whatever, right? So there's all different ways, or different audiences, or different targets. So I was mentioning, and pray for this, right? Keep this in your prayers. I think I'm about to get connected to a large missionary organization. It's been around for 100 years, the AMAA. The AMA, there he is. I think it's He's back.
Am I back?
Yeah, I got a little nervous there.
Actually, I'm on my mobile hotspot now, so I don't know if
Oh.
I'm coming through copy or not. But no,
I can hear you. I can hear you fine. And I just realized I still have the Bible Every Morning branding up. All right. So all at once, these things happen, right? Like I realized, oh, this video got age restricted. The one I was just playing for you got age restricted on YouTube on one of my other YouTube channels. I'm like, oh, I better not play it here because that'll affect this video potentially, etc. So,
right.
just in fact, what we did last night is we created a Vimeo account, video playing
Sure.
platform, and we put the video there and then linked it to the website so we don't have the YouTube issue. So you can go there and watch it.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Look at this. This guy's watching Bible Every Morning. This is the guy I'm talking about, Stephen. So we had a meeting last night. In fact, Stephen Lawrence, because that's the newspaper he runs, South Pasadenan. He is one of the core team members. And so Stephen meet Joel, Joel meets Stephen. Joel has been a part of this project or interested and involved in this project almost as long as you, Stephen. Joel, when did we first meet? Like, was it like 6 years ago?
18, yeah.
5?
6 years ago.
Yeah. It was probably around the time I met Stephen and was the video that I just started showing.
Well, now let me clarify something. Is Stephen your printer?
He does a lot. He's a PR guy, and he has a print. He's got big, expensive printing machines in his office. Let's say that.
I'm a printer. I'm an old printer myself. I was in the printing industry for years and years. That's most of my training is in printing and graphics. So, fellow printer.
I did not know that, Joel.
Yeah.
Also, so did you sell your studio?
I did.
Did that happen?
Yes. That came through. Yes. Finally, long journey there. So.
Got it. Well, Joel, I'll bring you into one of our meetings when we have them. So
yeah, sure.
Rather than do this here, but so Stephen is working like crazy, but that video we just posted last night, now that you can view it, I encourage you, Joel, to go watch it, because I
will.
It's the highest production value, and it gives a good idea to anybody out there what we're working on and how serious we are about it. So, all right. Topic. Let's get to the topic. Were we talking about something else? No, let's get to the topic.
13 minutes in, let's get to the topic. Yes.
We got 17 minutes to vamp. No. You mentioned last time you were pessimistic or a pessimist.
No, I'm not a pessimist. I know I'm not, but I am pessimistic about the state of the church. So I know you wanted optimism versus pessimism, but we have to define what we're optimistic and pessimistic about. That would help.
All right. Right. That is true. Optimism versus pessimism is pretty general and pretty vague. But what I was thinking in suggesting this topic was specifically theological optimism versus theological pessimism, or eschatological. Eschatology. There are multiple eschatological paradigms. In other words, views of the end of what the Bible talks about, the end of the age or the end of the world, eschatology. And some of them are by design pessimistic, and some are by design optimistic. And that's some people say, well, they're all optimistic because they all believe that Jesus in the end ultimately triumphs, right? So that, as Christians, we do believe we have eternal life, and that's the end, right? That's forever, and it's good, and heaven is glorious, and it's beyond anything we can imagine, right? So in that sense, every Christian is an optimist. But specifically, the human experience on the earth, some of the paradigms are very pessimistic about the human experience on the earth, like what ultimately is going to happen, and some are optimistic. Do you know what I'm talking about? Different eschatological paradigms. Do you have any hints as to what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Well, I was pretty much brought up on end times prophecies and predictions, and Hal Lindsey and all these kind of guys.
88 Reasons Why Jesus is Coming Back in 1988.
Late Great Planet Earth was more my time. So that's what I was raised on, and I sat through a lot of predictions. Like Hal Lindsey had the famous one, and the reason is the 1988 was such a pivotal year in their minds is because it's 40 years after the founding
One
of the State of
generation
Israel,
after the,
which is a generation, and this generation, somehow, somewhere, there's some prophecy that says this generation, the generation that sees Israel return to the land, will see Christ return. Some vague, I can't even tell you what that was anymore. So yes, and
calculation.
Yeah, and part of that was the rapture was supposed to happen in 1981, because if you're pre-trib, you believe 7 years of tribulation comes after the rapture, and if it's 1988 that Jesus is going to return, 7 years earlier is 1981. So I'm 21 years old, waiting. New Year's Eve, 1982. I decided that's not right. So, and then about 10 years later, I sat through some other, at the dawn of the 1990s, I sat through another sermon that predicted all the things that were going to happen in the 90s.
Did you sell everything? Did you run up your credit card debt?
Well, no, but so then you would think at the year 2000, I'd be like, I'm done with prophecy. But what was happening in the year 2000? Y2K, where the end of the world was going to come.
This is the end. Yeah.
So about 2001, I said, I'm not paying attention to anybody anymore. I'm not promised to not go through tribulation. So, and if you read the Bible with any kind of literal interpretation at all, it's hard to be optimistic about this world and the things of this world and the people who don't know. Apart from those who are the family of God, it's hard to be optimistic about what will happen. The Bible's pretty clear there's going to be a lot of trouble and tribulation. When it happens, I don't know. And, it's funny, we have this idea as Americans that somehow, all these people are saying, oh, the world's going to end, God's going to take us soon. Where do you see that? Because there's an awful lot of Christians throughout most of history. The norm for Christians is to go through trouble and
it's a
pain and suffering.
Jesus promised it. All men will hate you because of your
yes. And then and now when we're hated, people are like, oh, why do they hate us? We must be doing something wrong. We must not be winsome. We're not winsome. That's what it is. No. If everybody hates you and are saying all kinds of evil against you, you're right where you need to be. Sorry. That's just what this gig we're in is all about. Being a Christian is all about following Jesus. Jesus says they will hate you because of me. It's not, they don't hate us because we're not winsome, or they don't hate us because we're bigoted and intolerant. They hate us because we follow Jesus.
Yeah, because we follow something that we follow the truth, but a unifying force that transcends the power of the state. Right, the power of any other organization, the power of the academy, the power of the media, the power that we are. I say this: I have more in common with an Orthodox Russian than I do with a secular American. Right, I am united more closely with somebody that's so far away and that was considered like the enemy of America. Right, and that's a problem for them. But so. Thank you for outlining your journey through the the prophecy mongers.
So I don't know what I am. I have very vague things on the beginning of things and on the end of things. I don't fall into any certain category. So
well, my quick journey was this. I got saved when I was 18 years old in 1988. So it was May. Okay. And the book was predicting some date in September, right? And so I come in and I get saved in an Assemblies of God church, which is a charismatic Pentecostal church, and they were chomping at the bit for I mean, to be fair, our church wasn't. We didn't have people gathering and saying, "Oh, this is it, it's over," but it was certainly discussed quite a bit within the church right when I got saved. And it came and went, and I really didn't pay much attention to it, but. And then I went away to but the church was it taught pre-tribulation rapture, right? That's what's going to happen. Like you were saying, it's 7 years before the ultimate end, the church is rescued out, right? It's an eschatological paradigm, and it's a pessimistic one, right? That is the paradigm. Pre-trib, mid-trib, and post-trib, all three are pre-millennial viewpoints.
Yes, premillennial. Yes.
Pre-trib, mid-trib, post-trib is just talking about this supposed 7-year period of tribulation, and each of those three, like, is the rapture before the tribulation, in the middle of the tribulation, or at the end of the tribulation. Those are all pre-millennial, saying that the millennial reign, this period referenced in Revelation, that's the only place it's referenced, will begin at the end, right? So it's the end of humanity. We've screwed things up. It's time for Jesus to come back and pull you out, destroy everything, and start anew, right? That's the paradigm. It's pessimistic. The human endeavors in the world we live in right now will be burned up by fire, right? And there's plenty of places that I would say out of context scripture is used to support that. But the church I went to was pre-trib, premillennial. And then I went away to a Bible college that was also charismatic and taught, but it was like they had really good teaching there, that's where I first learned about mid-trib, the rapture's in the middle, post-trib, the rapture's at the end. And like in my education, it was a 2-year school. I went from pre-trib to mid-trib because I heard a speaker go, here's what I believe mid-trib. I'm like, that's a good argument. I'm mid-trib. And then I heard another speaker come and say, I'm post-trib. And he made good arguments. I'm like, oh, yeah, I like what you say. I'm now post-trib. So after being pre-trib, mid-trib, post-trib, I became pan-trib. I'm like, I'm going to stay away from prophecy. It's all going to pan out in the end, right? So that was in the early 90s. I'm like, okay, I'm staying away from that stuff because everybody's pulling this stuff out of the Bible, and it all seems like they're interpreting it from the Bible, but they're disagreeing. And how do I sort this out? So I stayed away for it for a good 20 years or so. And then I meet my friend Brian Godawa. I don't know. Do you know who Brian is? He's been on.
You mentioned him several times. Yes.
He's a friend of the network, friend of the program. And he said, "You ever heard of?" Well, he writes Hollywood books and scripts and analysis, but he's also an incredible theologian. He writes really good, sharp theology. And he told me about postmillennialism and partial preterism, and these are the idea that preterism just means it's already been fulfilled, right?
I have a friend of mine is a very strong preterist. Yes.
Well, you also have to distinguish. There's something called hyperpreterism versus partial preterism.
Yeah,
hyperpreterism.
Yeah.
Pardon?
My friend is hyper. Yes. Yeah.
So hyperpreterism is actually heresy, right? Hyperpreterism is heresy. Partial preterism is the biblical view. Hyperpreterism says that there is no resurrection. It already happened, right? That's the problem with the hyperpreterist point of view, that even the resurrection has come to pass. But all of us,
he may not be
right,
that.
Right. That's the distinction.
But so he's not partial. He's full. I've never heard
the terminology. The terminology makes it sound like, well, partial is actual preterism, right? The majority of preterists are technically partial preterists, and in fact, even let's say even pre-millennialists and etc. are preterist in certain things. We all believe that certain scriptures have been fulfilled, certain prophecies have been fulfilled. We all believe it, right? Jesus coming, right? So we believe that was fulfilled in the past. So the word preterist applies to all of us, but specifically in the eschatological paradigm, it's most of the apocalyptic literature that's referring to destruction. For example, the book of Revelation, some of Daniel, Matthew 24, the majority of those were prophecies of the fall of Jerusalem, the end of the
70
Jewish
AD,
age,
yes.
70 AD.
So it's already happened.
Right.
The destruction of the temple already happened, yes.
For example, when Jesus says, right before Matthew 24, he says, the guys are looking at the temple and like, wow, this amazing building. And Jesus says, not one stone will remain upon another. That's a prophecy. Right? He's prophesying something that's about to happen. He prophesies this, and then he launches into Matthew 24, and so this and there's all these. I hadn't really heard that view early on,
okay.
and then
We're you're kind of stuck on preterism right now. Go to your optimism. Sorry,
preterism.
I'm watching the clock.
Yes,
Sorry.
yes. Thank you. But so what partial preterism is, it is the optimistic view. Partial preterism or preterism, post-millennialism. Let's get to post-millennium. The millennium began with Jesus, right? That he came to sit on his throne, and he sat on his throne and is now ruling and reigning through his body. In 1 Corinthians chapter 15, it says that he will reign until all of the enemies are put under his feet, right? It's this progression. He sat down and reigns until. And so when did he sit down? When he ascended, right? He is seated at the right hand and is reigning until the enemies are put under his feet, which means that we are in control and we are taking over the world, right? I'm like, doesn't feel like we're taking over the world. But then you have to step back and look at history from God's eye view and ask yourself, are things better now than they were 500 years ago? Are things better now than they were 1,000 years ago? Are there more Christians? Is the gospel spread? We have 2.4 billion people on the face of the earth today that identify with Christian, whether they're Bible believing and actually saved or not. It's 2.5 billion people. Rewinding 2,000 years, it was 13 guys walking around, right? So Jesus, it's this long progression. Just as sin entered the world through one man, so through one man righteousness. And sin didn't just instantly ruin everything. It was this progression that sin worked itself through until Jesus came to reverse that, right?
Mhm.
So the optimism is things are getting better. I would rather be alive today with the dentistry we have today than 200 years ago with no dentistry or
Yes.
plumbing and I'll let you comment here in a second.
Well, yes, but
or now
you're also, I'm sorry, but that's also very Western. We're very West in the Western world. Yes, things are much better than they were. The other 2.5 billion people in the world, probably maybe it was 4.5 billion, however many billion people are in the world now, things aren't that much better. So if you go, I mean, I'm on the board of directors of an organization called Talking Bibles. And what we do is distribute audio Bibles to the 2.5 billion people in the world who don't read and who will never read and who live in mud huts and, live in these little villages where they take one of these, under an oppressive regime in some country, unnamed country that outlaws Christianity and is very repressive. Several countries like that we distribute these Bibles in at great risk to the nationals that do it to give people that don't read the Word of God, which they've never heard before, and frees them from all the oppression of all these things they've been under, all these demonic oppressions they've been under. So yes, you're right. In half the world, I would not want to be living now in the other half of the world. I wouldn't want to be living anywhere.
But that has always been true, right? That is a shrinking population, right? Poverty has abject poverty has shrunk precipitously in the last 50 years, right? If you follow Jordan Peterson,
before the lockdowns, yes, before the world shut down, we've kind of
lockdowns
are
didn't reverse it permanently, right? Because human growth is if you track growth, it's always happening, and there are always dips. Like when you're climbing a mountain, there's always some valleys you have to go down, but it continues in a direction toward,
unless you make a wrong step, then you go
unless you make a fatal step.
Right. Well, and like I said, and I'm not, I always tell this to my kids. I mean, we live on a very thin, civilization is still on a very thin edge. All this can go away. This is not the norm for human history. The reason we're in this state is because we're anywhere in the Judeo-Christian Western world, we have it very well because of these foundations that we have. We've spent the last 20, 30, 50, 60 years of my life knocking out these foundational walls. So if I had a lot out.
You're talking about United States of America.
Yeah. Or Western Europe is going to go first. Look at what's happening in Western Europe. The third world is taking over, and it's becoming more and more of a savage place. So, yeah, I'm optimistic. I'm not optimistic like you are on the human end of things. I'm optimistic at the end because I'm on the winning team, eventually win, but there will be much trouble. And I'm afraid that many of my Christian brothers and sisters are not going to be seen as faithful. And hopefully I will be seen as faithful, but that's a daily commitment on my part. So,
Amen.
Because I'm on the thin edge too. I could go back very easily. So
I'm glad you're a Doug Wilson fan. He has some really good stuff on post-millennialism. I should send you a video. But we're done.
Yeah,
Time is up.
we are.
It goes so fast.
Sorry to steal your
right,
thunder at the end, but
no.
I'm sorry I cut out. I'm not.
It's an ongoing conversation. All right. Love you, brother.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Mike, see you. Love all you guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.